Okay, so I guess we can get started. In the room here, I have Riling, Divakar, Trevor, Shaoling, and on the call, I have Huni, Ron, Mariana, Todd, Wei, Wa. Did I miss anybody? Okay. So on the agenda today, in fact, we have a fairly short agenda. We'll talk a little bit about the action items, and then I just wanted to touch base regarding the citation database from ICPSR as well as PDB. And I also wanted us to have a discussion about inclusion of more repositories into DataMet and get updates from all team members. So on the action item, we still have repositories that's to be sent to the UT Health team for integration into the UI. These would be the repositories that are mapped to DATS 2.0. And I believe Jeff said that he's still working with a student to do the voiceover for the video. Riling had done the timestamp for queries and results retrieved on the development server, and I know she was checking the DataMet server, but I don't know an update.
I don't have updates.
You don't have it. So also one of the things that we wanted to just keep on the action items but not really work on immediately was to get somebody from NCBI involved in going ahead with the link out. So I guess we'll just have it on the action items until maybe after the all hands meeting and then get back to it here. One of the action items that came out of our meeting last week with the CEDAR group was to have maybe a shared login with the CEDAR group so that you could have a fairly seamless transitioning, if it can be done, between the two UIs. And Riling will look into the system that the CEDAR uses. It's like it's called Keylock. Keyclock,
yeah.
Oh, okay. And apparently it's an open source system that she's looking into. So probably maybe next week or something we can get some more details about it. So with regard to the
I know. Just a moment. With regard to CEDAR, I saw on the latest draft of the all hands meeting agenda that CEDAR was listed, but there was a question mark. Are they going to be able to be present at the all hands meeting? At least someone from CEDAR.
So I do not know the list of attendees that are there, but presumably so. Somebody is going to come in, but I do not know who it is and whether they are going to be presenting something.
Okay, I'll double check with Lucilla and Elizabeth.
I think Elizabeth is managing that part, so she probably would know.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
No problem. So with regard to the database with literature links that we talked about, so for ICPSR, where George and his group offered to provide us with links to primary and secondary publications that are associated with datasets, Shaoling has some updates.
I contacted Matthew in George's group to ask him to share the file if he's ready, but I did not get any response from him.
Yes, so what we have done is she has reminded him again, and we're waiting to hear back from them. Also with the PDB, Peter Rose's group has provided us with links to primary publications and PDB ID mentions in literature. I just heard from Jeff that they have that database, and that's actually going to be one of or that will be an enhancement that's going to be linked into the index. And so it could be displayed in the UI, in which case you can actually say we've already integrated the pilot project at the back end. Okay?
So it's already in the PDB.
Yeah, that's what he said. Because what they got was PDB ID mentions and the primary publication links for PDB though. And he also said they have citation counts for Geo.
Yeah, Geo, I didn't see it yet. But for the PDB now, they have a publication section has some information about the primary publication in PDB.
Okay.
I think they updated PDB, but they didn't email us, so we didn't know that.
Okay. So maybe next time we can talk to Jeff again about getting emails and you have updates. So also one of the things that I wanted to talk about was to include more repositories into DataMed. So we have a couple of lists, and I generated a new list which is called repositories that are to be indexed for DataMed version 2 release. So this pretty much looks similar to what we did for version 1. We have a list of repositories, and whether it was in version 0.2, 0.5, version 1, and I just put in another additional column here where it says whether is it mapped to DATS 2.0, and then whether we have included it in version 2. So for this, I guess we will get updates. Whatever I have had in terms of updates that we have on the UI end, I've updated it, but I will send out these links. This is actually in the repository resources folder in the BioCaddy Google folder, and everybody has access to it, but I'll anyway send out links again to the team, and you can go in and update it with reference to what stage we are at. So we used this form earlier when we were working on version 1, so that everybody can be updated on what's going on with the different repositories. So I haven't really changed anything much, so we still have the same set of repositories, and my thought is we'll keep it as is, just because we have to anyway remap everything and reindex everything to DATS 2.0. So this could be a much more updated spreadsheet, and all of us can go in and update it, and then so that everybody is kept informed of what's going on.
Anu, as I mentioned last week, as the Commons becomes more concrete, there is a series of databases called that BD2K is calling reference data sets. These are large data sets that are well used, and these will become nominations. Some of it already is in DataMed, such as the links database and certainly PDB. But there are a couple others, and I mentioned one, this TopMed database from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. But there are several others that will be nominated based on how the Commons determines what it wants to include in its initial offerings. And having DataMed do that will certainly solidify DataMed's position as the index and search engine within the Commons. Not entirely, but at least through this prototype phase. So these nominations will be coming. As soon as I get the okay from the working group that's working on the reference data sets, I'll let you know.
Okay, so would this list then be available for us to include in the spreadsheet? Then
yes, as soon as they've got 11 reference data sets nominated, and they're now working through, as you can tell, within NIH, this can be a political process with the ICs involved and the Common Fund involved. So what they're going to do is focus that down to perhaps 5 to 6, at least in the initial offering. And as soon as I get some definitive information on it, I will bring it to your attention. But I think DataMed needs to be poised to act as soon as this comes forward.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
So I also just wanted to point to people that we have this list of repositories which was something that we actually scoped out earlier before we started with the prototype development, where we have the repositories and additional information. This was the original list from which we narrowed down the initial set of repositories that we wanted to index. And so I wanted to just remind people to go back into the resources. So you can see this is the resources folder in BioCaddy, and it has a list of repositories so one of the lists is very inclusive. It has about, I think, I want to say about more than 600 okay, this is slow. We have a lot of repositories here, and these are all repositories that are supported by NIH one way or another. So we could potentially, in addition to whatever to the repositories that Ron is talking about, we can go back to this list and maybe narrow down a list of repositories that we want to get indexed before we have version 2 released.
So what I'll do is I'll take that list and I'll double check it against the nomination list from the reference data sets. There may be some overlap already.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be there, because this is fairly comprehensive. We had a list of repositories that Jeff gave to us early on, and we had Stephanie go through a couple of different resources and enrich this list. So it's fairly inclusive in terms of repository list in the biomedical domain. So I will send out links to all of these after the meeting to everybody. So in terms of GitHub issues, we have 142 total issues with 65 open and 75 closed. We have had a chance in the past week to go over some of the usability issues, some of the issues that were also tagged as usability issues. And because I don't think there are any issues that are exclusively usability issues. They are always typically either linked with enhancements or bugs or questions. So we've had the chance to review those, and I think we've been able to address some of them, which is why you see that there are a couple of closed issues on that. And we plan to keep at this until we have a more manageable, or we have addressed as many issues as we can. So in terms of the ongoing work, as you know, we've had the data. So I already talked about expansion of the repositories that we will have in DataBank. With the data repository suggestion form, we've already worked out the SOP for going through the repository suggestion. George is working on this primarily, and Sanda is the person from George's team who's involved in this. Xiaoling has been helping them at the UI end in terms of making sure the workflow goes smoothly. And I actually had a meeting today with Sanda where I walked her through GitHub in terms of what she could do on GitHub that would be useful for her to work through and assign people for the repositories to work with the repositories and take it further down. And I think things are going pretty well. So primarily Huni, I think you will hear from Sanda,
Okay.
as well as Jeff.
Okay.
And I also saw that Philippe and Alejandra have a meeting scheduled with Jeff sometime probably end of this week. So they're probably again going to finalize the DATS 2.0. And once that's done, then, all our, if they say that it's a completely stable version, then the metadata mapping should be almost finalized, and they should be able to provide us with updated repositories that are mapped to DATS 2.0. With the NLP-based indexing, as mentioned earlier, we've already, Xiaoling has already provided Jeff's team with NLP services, and I think they have also generated indices, right, with that. So so what's the next step?
They already integrate the NLP code into the pipeline. So in the future, the index will be included NLP fields. So after that, we can
Update the UI, right? So another option that was supposed to be done. So all of these are what we want to do for before version 2.0 release, and one of them is the bulk download of indices to be allowed for people who are interested in doing it. Jeff's team is supposed to work on this, and as I know, they haven't started on it yet. So Jeff's team is working on integrating the terminology server on the indexing side, and that's an ongoing process. So on the interface design group, we have usability issues, as you know, we are already working on those. And then we also have another bullet point here, which is like to display most accessed data sets, but this will get done as and when we have enough user information to be able to do this. Divakar and Rilling have been working with improving the tracking system, and I'm hoping that after the all hands meeting, maybe we could have a demo sometime of what they have implemented. Also, Rilling is working on the similar data sets that we display, and this is based on Trevor's algorithm. So we plan to expand this. Right now we have it for a couple of repositories, so the plan is to expand it to all the repositories that we have on the DataMet currently. So with displaying of results, sorting of data sets with the published date, repository, and title has been completed. Author 2 has been completed, but has Syed updated our server, or is it?
He mentioned author, title, and citation yesterday.
Yeah, I think he also said date.
Okay. It's still under development branch, not the public site.
Right. So, but this is all some things that we want to have displayed, I guess, for version 2.0. So it's okay for it to be on the development side.
Yeah.
So the other thing that we have to start working on, which we haven't looked at yet, is to provide additional filters with file types. I mean, this came out of one of the feedback that we received from one of the users, and they were looking for additional filters such as data restrictions, data level, etc. I'm not sure that we have the problem primarily here is that we do not have any of these file types, for example, or data restrictions at the dataset level. It's always available to us at the repository level, but we can definitely provide that at the repository level, I think. The same also in terms of populations. I think we should be able to provide facets that have this information. And in terms of linking to external resources, we already have some linkage to PubMed, and we also have links to related datasets or related publications, which is a kind of a rudimentary related publication link, but we are working on doing a more refined version of it. And as I mentioned earlier, link out is on the list as well. So for the source code, everybody who's working on the BioCaddy project, please submit your source code. In GitHub, we have options of actually creating private repositories that are not visible to anybody outside of the team. So you still have it private enough so that it's easier for everybody in the group to understand what's going on. And video is, Jeff is working on that. From the feedback that we received, it seemed as if tutorials would not be of much use. That BioCaddy, the DataMed website, was fairly intuitive to use. So we haven't really gone too much into depth in terms of looking at generating tutorials, but we definitely have a help menu which talks more about the advanced search, and we will keep adding to that. User studies are ongoing currently. We have, as we had discussed a couple of times earlier, we've got the survey that we plan to send out to users who agree to be part of our phase 1 user studies. And Todd and Nina are working on a draft for the phase 3, which is the more summative user study that we'll be doing, which is hopefully to be completed soon and will be presented to Working Group 9. Additionally, we are also almost done with generation of the benchmarking dataset. So that's hopefully will be completed by the end of this week. And I guess that's all we had. Were there any questions or any other issues?
Anu, could you just firm up again for me what the target date is for 2.0? I know the earlier target was February 2017.
Yeah.
Is that still? Yeah. Okay. Good.
It's February 2017.
Okay. And the technical specifications?
So we have actually put up the technical or at least some documentation for the UI in GitHub right now. And as Jeff suggested, maybe we will start working on putting a application note. But I guess I would contact Jeff again and see where he is with the documentation on the ingestion and indexing side. So
No.
yeah.
For the all hands meeting, the 1.5 hour session for CDD team, do we have any plans on like how we're going to arrange the topics and how we're going to divide the time?
So I haven't heard from Elizabeth yet that it is concluded. Initially, she told me that she was waiting to hear back from Dave if we would have external advisory members attending the all hands meeting. And the plan was that if we had external advisory members, that we would provide them with a lot more background of BioCaddy and DataMed, in which case I guess the format of the meeting would be more formal presentations that they wanted. I've asked her again if they've finalized anything, because based on that then we can make our plans. If they're not any external advisory board members attending, then Lucilla apparently wanted to have a more informal discussion kind of meeting.
So as I understand it, Lucilla has recruited 5 experts who will be present. They don't represent the external scientific panel that we had earlier recruited. Some of those people may be present, some of them may not. I don't know at this point. But we do know that we're supporting the travel of those 5 experts that Lucilla recruited. And so they will be present. And so I think having some, a concise set of background information would be good to bring them up to speed.
Okay. So I guess then next week we will have some sort of an outline of presentations for the CDT, and also of course then I guess we'll do presentations for working groups as well. There's a fair amount of overlap.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. But I would expand that out a little bit. There are going to be several BioCaddy presentations at the International Data Week, after the Alliance meeting. So it might be good to collect those abstracts and sessions and give them out to the core development team prior to next week's meeting, so that we can have a brief discussion about how all of us want to approach those. We need to be certain that enough members of the core team are present at each of these presentations, just to support the speakers and or posters, whichever they may turn out to be.
You're talking about the SciDataCon.
SciDataCon and then RDA.
Right. So for the SciDataCon, I think from UT Health, whoever's traveling out to to the all hands meeting will be present there as well. But I'm not sure that everybody's staying on for the RDA though.
Nonetheless, I think it would be good for the entire group, even those not going, to see what is being presented.
Sure. I'll send that out, at least the information that I have.
Okay, thank you.
Let me find out from Elizabeth to see if she has more information, and then I can send it out to the CDT. Was there anything else that we needed to talk about? If not, then I guess we are going to be done a little early today. If possible, actually, I probably will break down presentations for next week, and then just circulate that among the CDT and see if there are any rearrangements or modifications that we want to do. Okay. Then we are going to be done early today. Thank you all for calling in.
Okay, thank you. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.